Welcome to AI for GIs, Introduction to Artificial Intelligence. Class 16, No Code Automation Fundamentals. 300,000 personnel descriptions. Manual estimate, 5.7 years of continuous labor. Automated result, 1 week. That gap is not about technology. It is about knowing the building blocks. This class gives you the 9 universal components that power every automation platform you will ever touch. I'm Dr. Justin Webb. Let's begin. 6 objectives. Each one gives you a transferable skill. You will identify the 9 building blocks, define the automation vocabulary, chain operations into complete solutions, distinguish trigger types, explain where human approval gates fit, and map any military process to a universal workflow pattern. So what does a 297 times speed improvement actually look like? 5.7 years versus 1 week. Same task, same data. The only difference, understanding. The Army Enterprise LLM workspace used Ask Sage's iterative CSV prompting to reclassify 300,000 personnel descriptions. That is a loop combined with AI integration. 2 building blocks, 50,000 labor hours saved. The leaders who built that solution did not have more talent or funding. They knew the pattern. That is what you are learning today. But not every process needs the same level of automation. Where does your unit sit on this spectrum? Level 1 is hand carrying an award packet through the chain. Level 5 is an agent that monitors logistics and generates supply requests on its own. Most military units live at Level 1. The goal of this module is to move you to Levels 3 and 4, where the biggest efficiency gains exist with manageable risk. And that leads directly to the building blocks themselves. 9 building blocks. That's all there is. Learn them once, and you can read any automation platform like a map. Triggers start the workflow, an event, a schedule, or a button press. Actions are what the workflow does. Send an email, update a database, generate a document. Conditions route the flow based on data. If RCOM, route to the brigade commander. If AAM, route to the battalion commander. Decision points in a battle drill. Now watch what happens when these 3 gain reinforcements. Loops repeat the same action for every item in a list. That 300,000 record case study? A loop. Data transformation reshapes data from one format to another. Pipeline Builder gives you over 50 built-in transform functions, no code required. Error handling defines what happens when things break. In commercial automation, a failure means an unhappy customer. In military automation, a silent failure means the commander makes decisions on wrong data. No silent failures, ever. But the most consequential blocks are the last 3. This is where military automation diverges from commercial. Human approval gates pause the workflow for a human decision. Non-negotiable for every consequential action. AI integration makes the LLM one step in the pipeline, not the pipeline itself. Automation handles the plumbing. AI handles the thinking. And agents? A workflow follows an SOP. An agent is the staff officer who decides which SOP to apply. We will go deep on agents in Class 18. 9 blocks down. Now you need the vocabulary to operate them. Every automation platform speaks the same language. 8 data types. String is text. Integer is a whole number. Float has a decimal. Boolean is true or false, and every condition evaluates to 1. Date enables date math. Array is a list. Object is a structured record with named fields. And null is the absence of data. If your automation does not handle nulls, it will crash. Type mismatches are the #1 source of automation errors. So what can you actually do with text? Reports, names, descriptions, messages, all text, all strings, 6 operations. Concatenate join strings together. Split breaks them apart. Trim removes invisible spaces that cause silent comparison failures. Replace swaps text. Substring extracts by position. Uppercase standardizes before comparing, because to a computer, Martinez and Martinez are different values. But there are 5 more you need to know. 5 more. Contains checks for keywords, and it is the foundation of all priority routing. Does this sitrep mention medevac? Flag it. Length enforces size limits. Format converts values to military standard display. Regex finds patterns instead of exact matches, like pulling grid coordinates from free text. And encode/decode handles file transmission through APIs. That is 11 text operations total. Every platform supports all of them. Text handles single values. Lists handle many. 542 soldiers. You need the 47 who are non-deployable. That is a filter. Now sort them by the most critical metric. Map each record to extract only the fields you need. Find one specific soldier by SSN. Count the total and trigger an alert if it exceeds a threshold. Append new arrivals. Remove those who PCS'd. 7 operations, and 6 more complete the set. Same sitrep forwarded by 2 officers. Deduplicate. 6 battalions each submit a list of supply requests. Flatten into one brigade-level list. 300,000 records, but the API takes 100 at a time. Chunk into groups. And memorize this. Index starts at 0, not 1. That is universal across every platform and every programming language. Slice grabs a range. Reverse flips the order. 13 array operations total. The theory is clean. Raw data is messier. Raw data never arrives in the format your next step needs. Parse extracts structured data from a raw API response. Stringify does the reverse. Convert fixes the type mismatches that break your flows, like when a form submits 542 as text, but you need the number. Merge joins 2 data sources on a shared key, like combining GCSS Army vehicles with LMP parts using vehicle ID. Pivot rotates rows to columns for dashboard display. That is 5. The next 5 are where patterns emerge. Aggregate rolls up values. Sum all supply costs. Average all ACFT scores. Group by shows you the pattern. 380 non-deployable soldiers grouped by reason reveals that medical at 142 is your biggest problem, not admin at 120. Compose builds readable outputs from dynamic data. Select strips a 47-field record down to the 4 fields you actually need. Union combines 2 rosters into one. 10 data structure operations. Your running total is now 34. But none of these operations move without the logic that drives them. Every routing decision, every filter, every approval gate runs on these. Equals, not equals, greater than, less than, contains, is null, and, or, and not combine conditions. Coalesce gives you a fallback chain. Try the preferred name. If no, try the first name. If no, use rank plus last name. Switch routes one value down multiple paths. 8 logic operations. The total vocabulary is now 42 operations across 4 categories, which brings us to how they all connect. Here is the connection most automation training misses. Operations are not separate from the building blocks. They are the vocabulary within each block. Conditions use equals, contains, and, or, switch. Loops use filter, sort, map, chunk. Data transformation uses parse, merge, pivot, aggregate. Study this mapping. It is the architecture. So how does this work when you chain them together? 30 sitreps hit the S3 inbox daily. A soldier reads each one, decides if it is urgent, routes it manually. Hours. Now watch 8 operations chain together. Parse the email, split into paragraphs, filter for keywords like medevac or contact, count the priority hits, extract grid coordinates with regex, sort by date-time group, concatenate into a summary, compose the final alert. Seconds. That was triage. Now apply it to readiness. 4,200 soldiers. The G1 needs a non-deployable summary by Monday morning. 7 operations. Filter to the 380 who are non-deployable. Group by reason code. Count each group. Sort largest first. Build a summary line for each. Select the detail fields for the appendix. Compose the final brief. Medical 142. Legal 31. ACFT 87. Admin 120. Pattern visible. Priorities clear. Generated automatically every Monday at 0600. Readiness handled. Now, apply the same logic to supply. 10 operations. 3 routing paths. This is the most complex chain in the class. Parse the incoming form. Trim the NSN. Look it up in inventory. Check for null. Compare quantities. Convert the dollar amount from text to number. Calculate total cost. Then switch. Under $2,500 auto approves. $2,500 to $25,000 goes to the S4. Over $25,000 goes to the commander. Stringify for the API. Append to the tracking log. Every step and every branch is right here. One more chain, and this one catches bad packets before they waste anyone's time. Every S1 section processes DA638s the same way. 8 operations automate the intake. Parse the form fields. Clean and standardize names. Check the justification length. If it is under 200 characters, reject it before it ever reaches the approver. Verify the justification contains a specific achievement and a date. Route based on award type. Use Coalesce to guarantee a valid approver email. Format the date. Compose the notification. Incomplete packets never reach the approving officer. And here is what makes all 4 examples portable. What if I told you that everything you just learned works on every platform? Palantir calls triggers automate conditions. Power Automate calls them connectors. Make.com uses webhooks. Different names, identical function. All 9 building blocks mapped across 4 platforms. A staff officer who builds a workflow in Power Automate does not start from zero when they encounter Pipeline Builder. The thinking is identical, but knowing the tools is only half the story. You need a plan for adoption. Do not jump to autonomous agents on day 1. Start at Tier 1. A soldier asks Ask Sage a question manually. Prove the AI works for your task with your data. Then automate one task at Tier 2. Then connect multiple workflows at Tier 3. Then, and only then, consider Tier 4, an agent that acts within defined boundaries. Even at Tier 4, human oversight is never zero. Skipping tiers creates risk no military operation can afford. So what does this look like applied to a real process? Before, 5 to 10 business days. Paper form to squad leader, to first sergeant, to S1, to the approval authority, back to S1, update the spreadsheet, email the result. After, same day. Trigger on form submission, condition checks required fields, Loop verifies attachments, AI extracts data, transform matches the tracker format, condition routes by action type, human gate for supervisor approval, error handling retries failures, actions update and notify. All 9 building blocks, 1 process. The human still approves, everything else is automated. The next question, when should you not automate? Get this wrong, and you automate chaos. Do not automate targeting decisions, legal determinations, or ethical evaluations. Do not automate processes that change unpredictably, or where the build cost exceeds the manual cost, or where classification prevents data flow. Do automate when the process happens more than 5 times a week with predictable steps. The decision question, does human judgment determine the outcome, or does human labor execute a predictable sequence? Automate the labor. Protect the judgment. That brings us to the 6 principles worth remembering. 6 principles. First, 9 building blocks power every platform. Second, The vocabulary of 42 operations transfers across all of them. Third, real automation chains 7 to 10 operations together. Fourth, human approval gates are non-negotiable. Fifth, platforms change, patterns are permanent. Sixth, start at Tier 1, validate progress. Never skip tiers. Read the lesson for the deep dive. And here is where you apply it next. Next class, data pipelines. How to ingest data from multiple RE systems, transform it, join it, and output unified dashboards using Pipeline Builder and Power Automate. The hands-on application of everything you learned today. Stay connected with AI for GIs on TikTok, Instagram, YouTube, and LinkedIn. Visit the full course at the link below. I'm Dr. Justin Webb. Thanks for joining me for AI for GIs.